Hey everyone, this is Phil Mendenhall, your host of Wild Resources. My son and I, John Mendenhall, who is the editor for everything you see here, and he makes me look good, let me tell you. Here he is right there driving the truck. He's down for a week from Colorado, and we're gonna do some touring around the area here to see a few things that are just absolutely beautiful in Southern Illinois. Here we are at the old iron furnace site that was built in like 1837, and they chopped charcoal out of the trees and then turned them into charcoal, and they dug limestone and they smelted iron from a local iron quarry down here. They brought it all across these almost impassable roads to this iron furnace site. During the Civil War, they had to shut it down because the men were all needed in the war. And then it opened again in the later 1800s, was finally closed down after. So we decided to make a little side trip to Tower Rock, which is right on the Ohio River. This is the Tower Rock right here. And we're gonna do a quick little hike up to the top of it. Get a good scenic overlook of the river. It's pretty cool up there. Now the trailhead here says it's 0.15 miles. We're gonna have to go up this great big hill there. It's really cool. When I did this, oh gosh, probably 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago, I brought a group of kids here from our camp, and they were going to ride bicycles from here to the Mississippi River at Grand Tower, from Tower Rock to Grand Tower. They did a successful trip, but as we were walking up this hill anyway, there were all kinds of fossils in the rocks from the ocean. And here we are at the Ohio River and seeing ocean crustaceans way up here on the hill. It's kind of interesting. Here we are near the top, and we're just seeing a barge go by. It's a pretty huge one. Hauling coal or grain down the Ohio to meet the Mississippi, right at the tip of Southern Illinois. Here we are at the top now. This is a pretty awesome vantage point over the entire river valley here. Here's the rock cliffs that go all the way down there. Pretty awesome, probably a few hundred feet down. I don't think I'd want to swan dive off of it. And you can see that point right out there. The river goes over that way, and there's another section that goes over there. I didn't realize it split in two. It must be some big island right there. Pretty neat. Water flowing here. Wish we had a better view going up this way, but there's a little tree in the way here and we can't see around the rocks. So here we are at Cave and Rock State Park. Here's a little sign about it. First European explorer to encounter this cave was M. de Lery of France, who came here in 1729. He named the cavern Dans le Roc. Let's see, robber Samuel Mason and his gang became infamous in the late 19th century for pretending to offer guidance to lost travelers. Some victims did not survive the Masons' gang's offer of help. Robbery on the Ohio River. Before the mid-19th century, lone travelers risked robbery or even death when floating with valuable goods along the Ohio River. This is a big robbery area where they would just, the evil forces would steal from everybody that came down the river. But there's some movies that have been made about it. Interesting stuff. We'll take you for a little walk down to it. I don't know if we can get in because the river's so darn high right now. I don't think we'll be able to get in there. Yep, I don't think we'll be able to get into the cave, will we? No. shoot. Yeah, with the river this high, kind of makes it impossible. We got a lot of stairs to climb the rest of the day, a lot of hiking to do. If we're going to see Garden of the Gods and Bell Smith Springs. Woo-wee. Maybe we'd do some hang gliding off these cliffs. Now this is the top of the cave where it goes down into the depths of Mother Earth here. Pretty cool. Wow, shame we can't get into it. Yeah, it's pretty windy up here. So we're pretty awesome view from here. Well, folks, that castle house is just down the road from Cave-In Rock. We just keep on going straight on past where the, I guess, restaurant and lodge is or whatever. Here we are at Garden of the Gods. This is something you should never miss when you're in Southern Illinois. It's a really cool hike through here, and the scenery is just to die for. So here we are at the first little scenic outlook here, looking way down the valley here. Pretty awesome view. We're up pretty high. This is just the very beginning of this. Pretty cool table rock right here. Beautiful scenery. I got lost out here hiking a long time ago. It took me a few hours to find my way back, but the trails are fairly well marked now. Man, look at these trees growing out of the rocks here. Just amazing. Here's an old cedar tree. It's probably 100 years old or more, but just growing straight out of the rock. There's a little crack here it's growing in. It's still alive. Amazing. Okay, there's Camel Rock right there. As you can see, it looks like a camel.
It is cool.
I mean, we're right out on the rocks here. Another one of these old cedar trees growing out of the rock. Pretty amazing. I mean, it's a 200-foot, 250-foot drop down from Camel Rock. I've been up on the head of Camel Rock when I was brave and young and stupid. Decided I was going to climb it and make it up there, but scenery out here is just amazing. Yeah, there's a real nice stack right down in there that just a big tower of rock that's separated from the other rock. This is called Gang. This is sandstone that was buried and embedded with iron and formed these big circular areas in the limestone. Everything's lichen covered right now, but you can see all these different areas here that go up. It's in lots of the rock formations here in Southern Illinois. It's in Giant City Park. It's in bunch of the different parks. There's a nice little place you can climb up in there, and there's a little cave you can go through right up in there and then go through the other side and come out. This is like the Turtle Rock here. You can see the turtle's head sticking out all along this walkway. There's just all kinds of formations. That looks like a big chunk of that fell out up there. A whole different color. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. This place has changed quite a bit. It used to be very primitive. There weren't all these walkways and boardwalks and stuff through here. Here's where that cave comes through that I was just showing you. You got little kids that like to play on the rocks. This is kind of a cool place, but you gotta be watching them very closely. There's more of that Lisa gang here. Going down in a big trough valley down in there. This is really new here. I haven't seen all this decking and stuff before.
Yeah.
Here's a real good example of Lisa gang. Looks like brains almost. So anyway, that's a tour of Garden of the Gods. Hope you enjoyed it. It's a pretty awesome place. Everybody that comes to Southern Illinois should be seeing this place. It's worth the trip down here. All right, we'll see you at our next stop. Hey everybody, here's one of my favorite spots in Illinois. It's called Bellsmith Springs. I've been coming here since I was a little kid. It's one of the most beautiful areas you'll ever see in your life. I'll give you a little show of where we're at. Bellsmith Springs. And there's a trail that will come down here and it'll go off to the left up in this way. And there is a really beautiful place that we can climb up to a natural arch. And then down to the right, there's a big swimming area with a rope swing. And this is basically saying that this was formed 320 million years ago, where a river flowed into the sea, and then it filled up, and the sea removed, and over time it filled in, and the sandstone bluffs and walls were created, and the water just continues to flow through here and form it constantly. But this is not wheelchair accessible, obviously, from the steps we're going down. But somebody left a nice walking stick. I think I'll borrow it. What we're looking at here, there's big cliffs over here that fall in here, and then there are big areas that have fallen off of this rock and are broken off. There's the stream way down below. Doesn't do it justice here on the camera, but it's a beautiful spring-fed stream that goes all the way through the canyon here. And we're coming up on the steps now that go down into the canyon. All right. Boy, this looks treacherous. I mean, these steps are just covered with gravel that washed down in the last rains. Boy, you can lose your footing on this really quickly. Shelter bluff at the bottom here. You know, this must have been a place where Native Americans enjoyed. They had fresh running water, had shelter bluffs. So I think you get down to the bottom here and there's a little sign. I'll show you, and it says, this is the natural bridge that goes off to the left, junction with the Blue Trail, and the spring is down to the right, and Devil's Backbone is to the right. Sometimes this creek's flowing a little more than you want when you want to cross it. But we used to bring our fishing poles down here and fish. There used to be northern pike in here. They weren't huge by any means, but lots of bluegill and there were bass. I mean, there's all the rock walls all the way along. And this is on both sides of us. We're just going through this giant ravine. Shelter bluffs all over up in here. There's one right where I'm pointing the camera now. You can see where these giant rocks have tumbled off here in the past. It's amazing. There's cane growing in here, wild cane, and there's blueberry bushes way down that way that are pretty awesome. But this is just amazingly beautiful. I've never been way up that way. That'd be interesting to hike up in there. Should be morel mushrooms out. It's about April 3rd, and I'm seeing May apples up. That's a good sign. Big pools up here. Beautiful place. You can go swimming in a lot of these areas. But the water is ice cold. I mean, on a nice hot summer day, it's the most pleasant thing in the world to get into. Holy cow, this is washed out badly. Hope this isn't where all the bees are. Yeah, I guess I will. So if I start running with a crammer and screaming, because I'm getting stung. Handy, there's a nice little bridge here. I just don't want to find out where that hornet's nest is. Across this pool, this is where we used to fish a lot. It was away from a lot of the people that swam. Of course, they'd come up here and swim quite a bit too. Okay, here's the Devil's Backbone area. It's this little swimming area. Nice and deep, goes down about 8-10 feet. There are great big rocks right up in there. They fell off of this cliff up there and into this big pool. And the water's gone around them and carved it out in some really beautiful areas. We could probably try to walk across this, but we're old and don't want to break a hip down here in the middle of this area. But it is beautiful. And the big pool, where they have a rope swing and big rocks, you got to cross the creek and walk up along this ridge on the bottom of it and go up that way about, maybe the 16th of a mile, a few hundred yards up that way. And there's a big cliff, and I know people for a fact have jumped off that cliff all the way down the water when it was really flooded, but it's an insane thing to do. The other rocks, people jump off them all the time. There's anywhere from 10 feet to 15 feet that you can jump off of the rocks up there. Water coming off of the cliff here. I don't know if you can see it very well. Coming down in this little pool. But these rocks are probably, I don't know, maybe 75 to 100 feet tall. Come through this whole valley, and it just keeps carving it out. So here we are. We're right from that Devil's Backbone area, and Actually, there are miles and miles of hiking trails here that you can go up on top of these bluffs and walk all the way down them and then come back as you come down and walk around the bottoms of them. And it's including all those areas way over there, all around this entire park. It's like that. So it's quite a beautiful place to enjoy hiking. It says there's a stream crossing there. Let's go look at it. See if we can actually cross the stream. I'm sure it's washed away. Doesn't look much like a stream crossing to me, but we'll see. Oh, wow. There is a stream crossing here, guys. It does go up that way. It looks like a lot of people have crossed here, but then the channel has changed so much that I think it's gone over that way. Let's go down here and look at the stream. Be neat to find an old spearhead in here, or arrowheads. Boy, this is really carved around this rock. Holy cow. Nice little place to take a swim here. What's really cool about this place is you can be hiking in the summer and it can be blistering hot, but it's cool down in this valley. And you can go swimming anytime you just get overheated. You want to get in, enjoy it. Lots of fishing in here. I don't know what the fishing's like anymore, but it was fun when I was a little kid, that's for sure. Because the fish were much bigger when I was much smaller. So I walked this little path that says it went to the springs here. Everything's changed so much. This is much deeper than it ever was. I mean, with water flowing all around, it's just beautiful. Look at all the wildflowers up here. It's just gorgeous. They're all blooming. I don't know what that little yellow one is. My wife will know what it is. This is where everybody comes to go swimming. And there's big rocks that are, let's see, right up there is the lower one you can jump off of. And there's the higher one you can jump off of right there. But some people have jumped off of those up there, and they got to be half out of their mind to do that, because if you don't make it, I mean, you got to get one heck of a run. If you don't make it, you splat on all these diving rocks down here. But there used to be a big rope swing up here, and I don't see it anymore. Maybe the old tree fell, but you can still jump off those rocks, and it's about 15 feet deep, 12 feet, something like that. Really awesome. Good little fishing here too. And this area's sure changed. It wasn't backed up like this in a big pattern. This is gorgeous. I don't ever remember it being this big like that. They must have had some really big floods in this area. Like I said, there are trails that go all along the top up there, and then you can cruise on those trails way up there on top of those bluffs and hike all around and come down and hike up the lower areas. So there's miles and miles of this stuff. This canyon goes on and on. My wife and I hiked way up that way and got into the trails and kind of got lost up there. We had to really hump it to get back. We were birding and we couldn't find the trail for a while. But it was interesting. It was a fun adventure. We were both pretty exhausted when we got done. One of the most beautiful areas in Southern Illinois, as far as I'm concerned. Hands down. You can see how dangerous these trails are. All the roots are washed out. You're not paying close attention, you catch a toe, boy, you're down on your face quick. Here's some of those blue yellow flowers, I mean. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? There's a bee. Oh, getting nectar out of that one. Let's turn on. There's a huge canebrake here. There's wild cane. Mississippi water thrushes like to nest in these. There's some of those really nice yellow flowers. Bee on that one. Little pollinator guy. Thought my camera was going to eat him up. Well, the pollinators are out. So anyway, we finished our little tour of Bellsmith Springs. I wish I could do a lot more. Film people jumping off the rocks and stuff, but we're coming back up these steps. Lord help me. I hope I can get up them. I'm already tired. We'll see how many times I got to stop to rest coming up these. I'm going to try to make it up the whole thing. I think when I was young I could run up this stuff. Oh, there's more. This is where it gets tricky, all the gravel. Let me see if I can fall and knock my teeth out. Oh, yes. Victory. Well, here we are at another stop in Southern Illinois. We're at Little Grand Canyon. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to see. We're gonna try to walk it. We hope it's not flooded. Just south of Murfreesboro, Illinois, off of 127. And I guess we're on Hickory Ridge Road to get here, but look it up. It's a really cool place to go. This is a kind of a rugged trail. There's spots like this kind of look like it might be wheelchair accessible, but I wouldn't try it because it gets pretty steep unless you got a really like a caterpillar-like track treads on your wheelchair. This probably wouldn't be the place to come. There's certain areas you can get to with some overlooks, but that would be about it. And it's kind of a strenuous hike. If you're not in shape, you've been sitting at a desk for a year and haven't done anything, I wouldn't recommend it. It'll wear your legs out. I don't know how long the hike is, probably maybe 3 miles, but it's pretty steep. Going up and down, you gotta go up, down a waterfall in several areas.
Enjoy it, appreciate it. Thank you.
There's a big old tree that fell. Whew. So this ought to be real fun. Now here's steps over here. But I'll tell you what, you gotta check these steps for slipability. You know, this is, now you can see why it's not for the faint of heart to come down here, especially when it's water raining down. Somebody has chiseled a lot of steps in the rock, thank goodness. But when they're wet, you don't know whether to trust it or not. This is what you call an adventure hike, because it's not just an awesome path. Look where the water's come through here and carved this out. I was just telling John, my other buddy John, and I came here in after an ice storm. I think that was one of the stupidest things I've ever done in my life. We came up this with 2 dogs, and we were young men, but I had to rescue my dog off of a cliff. He fell over an embankment, and I had to climb down, holding on to trees and the ice, trying to rescue him. It was probably one of the more terrifying moments in my life because I thought I'd fall 75 feet to my death. We're getting close near the bottom now. Just one little pool after another. Whew. Oh boy. This is interesting. We got a waterfall coming down the steps we're going down. Ow. I'm glad I'm not too much older doing this. Like I said, this is not for the faint of heart when it's raining and got really wet down here, but definitely an adventure. All right, let's see where the steps are. We still got to make our way down there. We're almost there. Just keep from dying, it'll be a good day. This looks fun. Jeez Louise. This is a wild ride. Whew. This is a cool place. You could have a rock concert in it. It's so big. But we're walking in the creek here that's got some pretty steep cliffs on either side of it. Little caves up in there in the rocks. One thing in the spring, like it is now, you have to watch out for snakes down here. The spring and summer, because we're in the big muddy river bottoms, and they come up from that. And I stepped off rock coming down the waterfall the other side that we're gonna go up later. I was helping a group of kids down, and I climbed down first, and I was giving this girl a hand down. Looked down at my foot, and there's a little water moccasin striking at my shoe. I had to get him out of the way with a stick, move him from that area. It's his right to be there. I just didn't want him there to strike any of those kids. And this is an area for timber rattlers. I don't want to climb over those logs on the creek. Yeah, there's a little trail up here I didn't even see. You always want to look over these logs before you put your feet down. There might be a copperhead or something in the area. Not trying to scare any of you snake people that are scared of snakes, but it's just something to always watch for. Look how steep these cliffs are coming up all around us here. That's a good 100 and some foot drop, you think? Jeez. Long way down. I found a deer carcass at the bottom of one of these. I don't know if something scared it. It was running, and it forgot there was a cliff. Okay, I think we can go down the creek here again. It looks a little easier. We're almost at the shelter bluff. It's right up here, I think. Didn't seem like it was this far that long ago. Maybe I'm getting older. I used to be able to run through stuff like this when I was a younger man. But now that I'm a little older, been broken up a few times, it'll slow a man down. So it's maybe a quarter of a mile that we have to travel to get to this shelter bluff, but when you get here, it's pretty freaking awesome. No good clear path anymore. Used to be a path up along here that was much better. But everything keeps changing as the creek washes all these rocks and stuff and forms new channels. A lot of the people that come down here don't know about this big shelter bluff up here. Somebody took me to it years and years ago when I first came down here. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Here we are. Is this not a cool spot? Somebody's been camping out down here. Guess you can get all your drinking water right there. Gutsy enough to drink it. Had those cliffs come up all over there. It's a big, beautiful place down in here. I would camp in here. I've camped in several places like this. Pretty darn awesome. Just to get a scale, you can see Vicky's starting to come up there. Place is really tall, probably about, I'd say 40 feet up to that top shelf up there. Really cool place. So for all you flower lovers, these are bluebells, and there's some white trilliums right here. Beautiful flowers. Oh, this is the most flowers I've seen just about everywhere. Okay, these are purple red trilliums here.
Jack in the pulpit.
Jack in the pulpit up here. Look at these cliffs. I mean, these are just amazing. Where? Where?
Back.
Show me. Jack in the, oh, Jet here?
Yep.
Jack in the pulpit here. This is just absolutely gorgeous down in here. And it just goes on and on and on. That side of the cliffs aren't quite as steep, but they do go way up there. There's a little waterfall coming down the cliff here. Isn't that beautiful? I almost want to climb in. We've got our fleece on and we're kind of sweating after all this hiking. We're really going to be sweating when we walk up the other side though. You thought coming down was kind of strenuous. That going up on the other side, it's kind of brutal too. I always go the opposite way that we're going now. This is probably one of the coolest places if you're into the outdoors and like to hike. Except if the river's way up and flooding, then you don't want to do it. I had to come through here chest high in the water one time when the river was up. It wasn't fun. Brought a buddy down here to see it. He was from the East Coast, from Baltimore. He wanted to come see it. And I said, this is a cool place, man. And we couldn't get through, and we just said, heck, let's just wade through. I kept getting deeper and deeper. Like, oh God, what do we got into? I thought we were gonna have to swim for a while. But we're getting close to the big muddy area down here. You can canoe down the Big Muddy River. I've done it before from Murfreesboro, and I forget where we pulled out, but we camped out down here somewhere. It was cold and miserable, and we'd borrowed a tent and didn't know how to set it up. Nobody'd ever had a big giant 8-man tent like that. Nobody knew how the poles went. We struggled for an hour with it. It was getting dark. I just decided to curl up, sleep on the ground outside with my sleeping bag. And I was near the fire. Unbeknownst to me, we were burning poison ivy vines along with everything else, and I was breathing that smoke in. For the next 3 months, I thought I was gonna die. I could hardly breathe. I just coughed constantly. I used to run all the time, and I couldn't run that whole summer, and I was really mad about it. Just another bad adventure I've had that turned out to be pretty rough. But the trail's pretty well marked and blazed down here, so there's no difficulty in finding it. And we'll be going up pretty soon, up a big waterfall up ahead. And I'll start filming then. So here we are kind of at the end of the hike down in the valley, and you can see the river. That's the big muddy floodwaters right there backing up into here. So here are the big cliffs and the shelter bluffs that form along here. And we're gonna be going up the next waterfall. So this place is pretty hairy to get up to, and it's real steep paths. And you can fall to your demise a long distance down some of these if you're not careful. But look at all the holes in this rock from the water action from the glaciers we're here and melting. I can't imagine what this used to look like when a mile of ice started melting and carving all through this. Oh,
The beetle pollinates it since it's on the ground.
There's the flower. That's wild ginger. I don't know if you could hear that, but beetles pollinate the flower because it's so close to the ground. Yeah, by now your legs are starting to burn a little bit. By the time we get a third of the way up here, I'll probably have to stop and take a break. Can't be because I'm old and out of shape. I remember my friend and I came down here with his wife and daughter we were hiking up to Inspiration Point, and his wife got so tired, I thought she was gonna die on us. So we showed her the way to go back to the car. And we said, we'll meet you back there. So we ran this whole distance. This is when we were in our early 20s. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. We ran the whole little Grand Canyon down here, most of the trails. I'm still amazed that I did it. Go. Jeez. Okay, I found a slippery rock. Amazing, all these trees that have come down in here. When it starts coming, it comes down this place quick. At least there's some handholds on the roots. So we got to work our way up the rest of this canyon. It's a pretty stout climb. We're all breathing kind of hard and sweating. You can see how rooty this is and how you could trip and stumble pretty easily if you're not paying attention. And when we get up here, around this bend here, where the trail used to get real narrow, it used to wash out in some spots. It was like one of those, oh my God, spots where you go, I'm not gonna make it across this without dying. But I guess they just move the trail up a little more when it washes out. And it'll be a good 200-foot drop after we get up here a ways. So here we are. We've hiked all the way out of that valley, and we're coming to what's called Inspiration Point, or I always call it that. But holy cow, it's a long, steep hike out of there. But here's the sign at the top. This was covered 320 million years ago, covered by an inland sea. Deposited huge amounts of sand and mud along its shores, and they turned into sandstone. And there you can see the cliffs over there People rappel off of those and technical climb them. Then there's the Muddy River, the Big Muddy. This is the whole Mississippi Valley. That's Missouri over there. And all those bluffs are Missouri. And then the river just keeps on going through. Just amazing to think that the Mississippi was this wide. That's probably 4 to 5 miles across there. I can't imagine water flowing down in that huge amount. This absolutely amazes me. Oh, there goes a vulture flying off. Beautiful spot. Thank goodness the wind's blowing too. It feels really nice after we've been sweating down there, hiking out. Beautiful low area farmlands out here that are really productive, but lots of wooded areas. So from this inspiration point that's right here, it's about a mile back to the car along the path we're taking. It is a beautiful trail, and they made it so it wasn't quite so dangerous. Well, here we are at our next stop on our tour of Southern Illinois. We're at the Pomona Natural Bridge. It's off of Route 127 south of Murfreesboro, Illinois. It's not a massive natural bridge. It's fairly small, but it's interesting. Looks like the trail's a little bit washed out here too. Try to stay on it. It's definitely not wheelchair accessible, folks. And it's not a very long walk down to here either, which is kind of nice. Pretty steep on this trail. This gravel can roll you under your feet. Beautiful wooded area here in the National Forest. Cool little creek down here that flows through. And here we are. There's the natural bridge. Pretty cool that this creek is cut through the stone here. Pretty deep. It's a nice little circular trail, probably a 1/4 mile long. We'll walk around and go over the natural bridge. Pomona is a little tiny town. Really doesn't even have a post office anymore, I don't think. And the only general store that used to be here closed down a long time ago. So it's just a small little village of a few houses anymore. I guess in the old days it used to be a pretty thriving town with all the orchards and stuff in the area. Okay, we're just getting on top of the bridge now, or the arch, however you want to call it. Really nice rock walls here, cave-like entrance cracks. Nice little shelter bluffs up this way. A lot of people hike down into there, but now we're right on top of the bridge. Beautiful little area out in the middle of nowhere. All the redbud tree there. Beautiful contrasts in color. think we can walk down this way and kind of get a good view of it. So here we are under the bridge. There's my wife, Vicky, up top. Hi, Vicky. Pretty big. It's a lot bigger than it looks from up top. Here's the little waterfall that's trickling through. Wouldn't that be cool to have in your house? Have a little waterfall like that coming down. Hear that noise all night long. Whew. Would be sweet. Pretty unique little place to visit. You see up there, all the rocks are breaking apart and falling apart. As the freeze and the water gets in the cracks, it keeps splitting them apart when it freezes. This arch has been here for a long, long time, probably since the Ice Age. I think winter and early spring or late fall are some of the best times to hike in Southern Illinois, because in the summer months it is hot and humid here. It's really almost unbearable some days. You get a humidity up near 90% sometimes, and the heat index is like 110 degrees. Makes it difficult to do almost anything. So, and in the wintertime, obviously in spring, you can see a whole lot more through the woods, and you get a whole really different view of everything down here. So I'd suggest, if you're in the area, don't come when it's really, really hot. Believe me, you will sweat a lot. And it seems like you can't cool off enough, no matter how much you sweat in this environment. It's like 50 degrees out today, and it's early April. All the wildflowers are starting to come out, and the trees are starting to bud up and start forming their leaves. So it's really a perfect time to come. Wow, I gotta show you this. They put this bench right next to this tree, and look what's happening. It's starting to form around the bench here. Is that wild? Never seen a tree grow around a bench like this. That's pretty awesome. Starting to do it down here too. That's pretty remarkable. Park bench gets eaten by tree. Look at all these. These are spring beauties, correct? Yay, I got something right. Thank goodness my wife is with me. But these are all out, and there's little pollinators all over them. Getting some pollen, And these roots of these spring beauties are something. They've got like they have a little tuber on the bottom of it. It's like a peanut. And in the old days, the pioneers used to dig them up, and it gave them all kinds of vitamin C. I've actually dug them up and eaten them, and they aren't bad. It's kind of like a raw peanut. But I guess okay, Vicki just says that over 100 pollinators pollinate these. So they're a really important plant to have out in the woods to keep all the bees alive and other insects that pollinate. Weird looking tree. Looks like it had a fence across it at some point. They'll make that ring around them whenever barbed wire goes in them. I was hoping we might find some trees with burls in them so we could show you some really cool burls. They're awesome. People will pay big money for those burls to make bowls and other furniture and items for your house with. And they've got all kinds of beautiful coloring and striations in the wood. You don't want to go out in the woods and start cutting off that, especially if it's National Forest land or anybody else's property. Right now we're doing a little more touring of Southern Illinois, and we are at the Bald Knob Cross. We just climbed a big windy road to get up here. Channel 12 is going to start recording, but this is a visitor center, and there's all kinds of souvenirs and cool stuff you can get in there. This is just absolutely amazing. You can see the Mississippi River. They're getting ready for Easter weekend, so you're having all kinds of notifications and all kinds of traffic, and the news centers are up here. But here's the Bald Knob Cross. This thing is massive. They were doing constructions on it a few years ago, and my buddy John said, let's go up there and we can pay 15 bucks and we get to climb up in it. And we climbed up in this thing, and half the panels were off of it. And the wind was blowing and the whole thing was moving. We were climbing up on these little catwalks. It was terrifying. I thought, they're really letting us climb up in this? This is the most dangerous thing I've ever done, because you could fall off of these little catwalks on these boards. It was kind of crazy, but it was a neat thing, a once in a lifetime that nobody will ever get to do again, unless they totally rebuild this in another 60 years. But there's a lot of history about this area and getting it set up and put in. They had all kinds of money fundraising projects that they did for it. And it's really amazing, but this view up here covers a whole lot of Southern Illinois. It's just an amazing place to come. These yards will be covered with people coming up here on Easter morning to do services. It's a huge event. There it is. We're right near the base of it. Beautiful place to come. Just be weather ready when you come up here, because the wind's usually blowing. But you can buy bricks to help support this place. You can have your name on it. I'll kind of show you some of these. You can put memories on this. And here's the faith side over here.
Right there.
And here is my son and his family's brick that they help support this place with. Here it says, you're looking southwest. To the left is the bend in the Mississippi River, way out that way. Cape Girardeau Bridge over roof of Welcome Center. And boy, it's tough to see on this, but that will get you over into Missouri over there. And then to the far left, Joppa Power Plant, which is way off that way, but that's in Joppa, Missouri. Here's the history of the cross. This is the Hope side over here. Okay, and they're showing all the different areas that you can see here. And that's the Mississippi Valley, right over there where that tower is, but way beyond that. 1937, the first Easter sunrise service. The first wooden cross was constructed here. In 38, 39, 45, the 3 wooden crosses were erected. 3 years spent securing 116 members at $100 each to form the Bald Knob Christian Foundation and purchase the site in 1948 to 51. Then the Christian Foundation, they kept funding and getting more funds to raise and purchase the land. The bank secured a loan in 1955. Sufficient funds for our purpose not being received, this period spent in securing additional funds, chiefly through the pig program. And this is where they used to sell pigs and raise money. So it was really neat. They had like auctions and stuff for the pigs. Then in 1959, they started construction, groundbreaking, neon lights they put in. Here's what the cross looked like right there while they were building the framework. That's what we walked up into. It was so terrifying. 1963, the cross was finished. Save the Cross Committee in 73. Cross of Peace Foundation was organized. Custodian's Home and Concession stand burned in 1980 and 1982. The Custodian's Home was rebuilt. Then the Passion Plays started here in 1983, 84 through 86. Wayman Presley, the founder of the cross, dies at age 93 in 1990 and 91. The new road was surfaced. It used to be a washboard gravel road all the way up here, and then they finished the roads up and make it look really good. Another founder dies at age 87 and 92, Reverend William Lyerly. They had the first blessing of the bikes, where everybody brought their motorcycles up in here in 1993. And they've been doing that almost every single year, I think, except for COVID. They may have stopped. Myrta Klutz, the pig lady, dies at age 90 at 1994. She used to raise all the pigs. They put new renovations in here in 1996. Vinyl siding, new windows, and carpet installed in the Welcome Center. Friends of the Cross was founded in 2006. Goals reached 3 year, 300,000 goal to restore the cross was met in October in 2009. And then 2012, the renovations were completed, and that's what you're seeing on the cross now. And then they have the first blessing of the cars in 2014. Welcome Center was renovated in 2015. And they just bought another 12 acres adjacent to the property to keep this place from being developed up. Done a bunch of improvements since then, but if you'd like to become part of our future timeline, please join our mission by inquiring inside or go to baldknobcross.com. And you can buy a brick or just donate money, whatever you want to do. But it is just a fascinating place and a real point of interest in Southern Illinois. If you want to see something pretty awesome, this is the place to come. And this whole yard, everywhere out here, will be filled with people. I mean, just packed shoulder to shoulder on Easter Sunday. I mean, I'm giving you a whole 360 degree. But they have the sunrise service here every Easter. And if you'd like to come, it is a good experience to have.